Sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
They do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, indeed. I'm sure if you were a good citizen and you saw the commercial, you saw the little baby moving back and forth, that's because you guys know how we are with life. We love babies, and we also believe in putting our money where our mouth is. So there is a link in the description for a young lady who is pregnant. She's preggo, and
she's one of our villagers.
I don't even think she's a villager. She's not a villager, actually.
A relative of one of our.
She's a relative of somebody I've had many a jousting session with, actually, on the concept of life. And how that works with pregnancy and all that jazz. Anyway, she hit me up. She's like, well, Vin, I figured you'd appreciate this. And it was a little beanie of her sister's pregnancy, which is really, really cool. And so she's got a baby registry. So the link's in the description. Help if you can. $1, anything helps. If you make purchases that equal $75 or above, then send me a screenshot of that, and we'll get you a song. Usually they're $125, yada yada yada. But if you do that for her, we'll
do that for you.
We'll do that. But again, $1, $2, anything, whatever. Okay. Now this is for the big homie.
Oh, okay. So we're doing a Typo Negative song. Yay!
Typo Negative.
Prophets of Doom is the name of the song. This is for the big homie Brian. What's up, Brian? He has he got a new guitar. He actually wanted to show it to you, Vinny. So here it is. You could pop it up on the screen. Boop. There's this new guitar.
That's a nice rig, boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a nice rig.
The entire village can look and covet. No, don't covet it. That's
one
wrong.
Of the commandments, bitches. Okay.
All right. So we're gonna.
Of commandments. This is.
He said, "Tell Vin got my new axe."
Prophets of Doom.
Yep.
By
Typo Negative. Apparently, this is once he had crossed the line and became, I guess, a pretty devout Catholic.
Okay, well, let's check it out. Prophets of Doom, Typo Negative.
Let's go.
Sounds doomy. Uh-oh. Trouble.
sun and against the moon. I warn you that these two combined will be man's doom. Oh, 10 toys and 7 heads. Count your fingers and the continents on your head or in your right hand. This new moral code of the medium commands. In their clever words, because faith in act are the loudest herds. All these things I say are true, understood sadly by a chosen few. You. The final time. The end, my friend, is not near. The hour, in fact, is quite here.
When the movie comes right, you got the risen dead. This means God's turn his back on you.
It's a Friday 13th, of course you will live to see noon.
A brother to do. A brother to do.
So now the star has fallen, washing away the seas. The seventh seal now opens. It's raining your ears.
Are you paranoid? Welcome the asteroid. It's got your name tattooed on it.
This stone's called a Apophis. It brings apocalypse.
A brother to do. A brother to do.
Okay, so that was Prophets of Doom by the band Typo Negative. I thought that this song was going to be about, like, TV preachers. That, you know,
you
like,
did?
You know, take people's money and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Prophet of Doom?
Yeah.
P-R-O-F-I-T
Yes.
instead
Okay,
of P-H-E-T.
totally. I totally see. Yeah.
I thought that that's where he was going.
I think I didn't read the title, but it like translated differently, and it translated as like a prophet who speaks the future. That's how I had taken it, but I see it says prophet like gain.
Yeah, it's Prophets of Doom.
Yeah.
Which...
No, it's the prophet of doom. Well, this says the prophet.
Or the Prophet of Doom. Yeah, yeah. So he kind of went a lot of places with this one that I was kind of like, oh, okay, I know where this is going. Then I was like, okay, I don't know where this is going at all. Then I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I kind of get I have a general understanding of what I think he's trying to say.
Oh, look, he said, well, maybe this is this. He says, I am a prophet of doom.
Yeah, he says he's a prophet of
Okay,
doom.
that was how I thought the whole song was.
That he was like a
yeah, like
speaking
I
prophetically.
thought it was going to
that
be like, some end times.
something bad was going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. We were watching Jimmy Dore today, and all the stuff where they're talking about like digital tracking of people, and isn't this great? And I think it's Kurt something. He was like, "Man, these guys are making the born again Christians sound like they knew a thing or two here because holy shit, this is the mark of the beast. You can't buy or sell without the mark of the beast." I'm watching this stuff and I'm like, oh boy, and if you don't know like evangelicalism, if you're not really familiar with all this stuff, there's this big obsession with Russia even before the shit liberal type of whatever. We're making this giant deal out of Russia. There was supposed to be this conspiracy between China and Russia, and they were Gog and Magog. You can find it in Ezekiel 37 and 38 in the Bible. And so anyway, there's a lot of like end times like fury right now just because of what's happening in Russia and all this. I'm part of a Facebook group, and one of these guys who has this belief system, which all Christians do not believe this.
Right.
But as a matter of fact, that view in Christianity is actually becoming less and less prevalent with our age, thank God. In people our age. But basically, the guy showed up and he was like, what do you think now? He was basically saying, hey, there's a war with Russia. And it's like, we're all like, and? It's like, what did you expect to happen after all this, whatever. But, anyway.
Well, when he started out with, I'm sorry, were you still going somewhere?
No, you were going into the analysis part right now.
Okay, he says, of this shape, a star of 5 also applies to the one with 6 sides. Against the sun and against the moon, I warn you that these two combined will bring man's doom. Is that... I thought the Star of David, right?
Star of 5 is, I think,
Was the Star of
is the
6
pentagram.
Yeah, and the
And
Star
the
of
Star
David
of
is...
6 would be the Star of David.
Yeah.
The 6-pointed star would be the Star of David. Against the sun and against the moon, I warn you that these two combined will bring man's doom. But the pentagon... So you have the pentagram, which is a 5-pointed star. But you also have the pentagon, which is 5-sided. Right? So, of this shape, a star of 5 also applies to the one with the 6 sides. Maybe it's talking about the U.S.-Israeli alignment. You know what I'm saying? Because we've got the pentagon, and then the Israelis have the 6-pointed star, which would be that. I warn you that these two combined will bring man's doom. I don't know what year was this song written in? 2007.
Then he goes into the 10 horns and 7 heads, which is Revelation stuff.
10 horns and 7 heads. Count your fingers in the continents. So,
yeah, 2007.
You got 10 fingers and you got 7 continents. On your forehead and your right hand, the new moral code that the media demands. So we're 3 or 4 years into the Iraq War at this point, because it's 2007. We invaded Iraq in 2004. right?
Okay.
So I think that that's what he's talking about. Like that was the climate at the time, was people were really starting to say, you know, why are we going in there? What's the justification?
Yep.
And a lot of people, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. He's like, we're in the most dangerous time ever right now. And I was like, that's what people were saying. You know, people were convinced that we were going to end up in World War III because of our war with Iraq. People were convinced. All the prophecy people were saying it. All the, you know, at least on the evangelical side. I don't know about the secular side. Because I was completely entrenched in evangelicalism and Fox News at the time. But
Hard to believe that you used to be at that phase. It's so funny.
What do you mean?
Just because of how you are, like, you're so balanced and listening to everybody and stuff, to like picture you and just like in this room reading Left Behind. And was that when you were also in
Left Behind? And then at 8:00 I'd go over to listen to what's his face, not Tucker Carlson, Bill O'Reilly. And I mean, that's the reason I am the way I am now, is because I'm like, you know, we got lied into a war. There's a whole bunch of crazy shit that happened over there that, you know, is unconscionable in my view. So yeah, maybe he's talking about, because quite frankly, one of the and I don't know how deep the homie went into politics, but one of the reasons that Osama bin Laden gave for attacking us on 9/11 was not because he was against freedom. It was because of our unilateral support of the Israelis over the Palestinian people. Yeah. And obviously, you know, so of this shape, a star of 5 also applies to the one with the 6 sides. And that seems to me to be maybe about that.
Yeah, it could be. Because he says down here, he talks about the 7th seal being open. Do you remember what the 7th seal is? What do people traditionally think that it is?
7th seal, let's see, in Revelation.
7th seal. It's so funny that you don't know. Like, I don't even know what happened to Vin.
It's Revelation 8. When he opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven for the space of a half an hour.
Okay.
That's interesting. Very interesting. And I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. Yeah, so the 7th seal releases the 7th trumpet, which is another set of 7 plagues in Revelation. So it's just shit getting worse. But it's interesting. The 7th seal itself doesn't bring about anything.
Just silence.
It brings about the introduction of the next group.
So maybe he was saying like another time, like another thing is coming here. I gotta tell you, I love the part where he said my soul's on fire, and he kept doing that part, because it, like, he's come a long way from, you know, I mean, there were some songs that he put out, there was like a jackhammer one, you know what I mean, like it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
There
are some,
you know, and
there
so
are some
like
times when he for sure.
But I've always liked his, you know, sort of, I don't know, gloomy love songs. Not gloomy, but like vampire-ish love songs. But this one was like totally and completely different. It even sounded different to me. Like when it started out, I was like, who is this? And what have you done with Peter Steele? But then he gave us a little bit of his vocal style in the middle. Like what he did at the beginning to me seemed to be something totally different that he hadn't done previously, or that I hadn't really heard previously. And then obviously the top I really heard him do before either. But the part My Soul's on Fire, especially knowing that what year did he pass away in?
This was his final record I saw somewhere. That's another thing. I was like, I wonder if he knew, you know.
He died in 2010. That came out in 2007.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just thought.
But that was your final record, though.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know if he knew it was going to be his final record or not. But I was like, wow, like he, you know, he was definitely at a different place. Oh, I hope that he was like, I hope that was how he was feeling. You know what I mean? That his soul was on fire. You know, it's like sometimes you can get, you know, wound up with the wrong religious crew, and it can be, you know, you can.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, you get into this end times hysteria, and sometimes it can be unhealthy. But at least at the beginning, it can be fun, and it really can, like, give you a lot of energy. As far as, I mean, I don't think that there's a destructive element to it, but if he was able to see, especially if the opening lines are about the Pentagon, if he was able to take his Bible and see that what we were doing was Antichrist and horrible, then, at that point I'd say, hey, well, good. The religion benefited him in that regard, because he would have been the exception, though, because a lot of Christians at the time, especially people who were geared toward, the kind of biblical narrative about what was happening, were inexplicably horrible as far as what was going on and what we were doing around the world, and justifying all types of atrocities. I remember very clearly, like, when Saddam got caught, they announced it in church and everybody was clapping, and there was one, like, liberal guy.
Really?
And
Was that the guy that wrote the book?
No. Like, we're in church.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
The local guy. There's no local guy that wrote a book.
Yeah, there is that guy that he adopted hella kids and wrote a book, and
I went to church with him?
I didn't know. I actually thought he previously went to your church. You know which guy I'm talking about?
No idea who you're talking about.
He wrote a book. He's adopted kids from over, and you said that it was, his adopting them was like an act of repentance. He's
all those kids. No, those are two kids. No, that wasn't him. That wasn't
Did
him.
he used to go to your church?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay.
My famous. No. He never went to that church.
Oh, okay.
He went to the big one that was down here.
Okay. How the hell did you meet him?
It was online. It's actually
in one of your chat things.
I don't know exactly how I met him, but it was interesting. I was like, "Holy shit, you're from Maine?" He's like, "Yeah."
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he friended me on Facebook, and then I said something about, like, I was in Houston at the time. I said, some motherfucker came to my house. Boom, boom. I said, some decisions are irreversible. And he was like one of the first ones that challenged me about, like,
really?
You'd kill somebody? I was like, hell yeah, I'd kill somebody. Come to my house, they're going to die, bro. And he was like, really? Where did you see that in the Bible? Or where do you see that with Jesus? And yada, yada, yada. And that was, like, really what, like...
Oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
But anyway, we were celebrating Saddam getting caught. There was only one... Everybody was like, yay! And there's one liberal guy, he had his hands... he was like, this is some bullshit.
Yep.
You guys celebrating this shit in church? Like, the confluence of, like, religion and Americanism and all that, and then the media, and at the time, like, it was very fascinating because it's... this time right now, I'm talking literally this moment right now, to me feels like 2004, 2007-ish.
Oh, really?
Where both right-wing media and left-wing media are saying the same thing, basically, the same narrative. Putin's horrible, Zelensky's a hero, yada, yada, yada. Like, all this craziness, and they're all, like, just saying the same thing. I'm like, wait a second, I don't trust it. And it's weird to me, like, even people on the left are like falling. I'm like, it's mind-boggling. I literally do not know what's happening right now. Like, with folks, like, I don't get it. I'm genuinely confused. I don't know what's happening. The most simple thing is, I don't want to go with the most simple answer because I think the most simple answer is just ridiculously arrogant. But
and the simplest
it's very
answer
strange.
Is what?
I'll tell you offline.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to say it publicly because it's like too cringy for me to even say. But some of the shit is just so obvious. I mean, I'm gonna shoot a Middle America episode right after this just to get it off my chest. But
okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna go as far as what I will tell you offline. But holy shit! But when he's talking about the media and the confluence of the media and how that works to influence people at the beginning. And I do think, and I was talking to my friend about this. He was saying, we're in the most dangerous time ever, blah, blah, blah. We're doomed. It's over. Because he's got this, bad end times theology, and so do a couple of my friends. And I said, the reason I do not think, even though the media is saying this and whatever, the reason I don't think we're doomed is because social media is a Pandora's box that cannot be closed. And everybody has a phone now. Mm-hmm. And so the typical, you know, like we're going to talk about the Snake Island thing on Middle America, the typical stories where it's like, oh, where we were so easily propagandized even when Peter Steele was around. That is impossible now.
Yeah.
Because now you have Jimmy Dore, now you have Joe Rogan, you have these people saying, no, wait a second, what about this?
Yep.
And then what happens is it's like, oh, this didn't really happen the way you reported it, but then they won't come back and
tell us that.
And tell us that and correct it. So now you're like...
They're not reputable.
Especially after this whole COVID thing, everybody's like, yo, I'm out. You guys are...
I feel like that, like, our parents' generation is still holding on to Fox and CNN.
100%.
But, like, our generation and the generation beneath us is going to be like, you guys are out. Like, it's over.
Yeah,
It's been over.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's fascinating because YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all these guys, they're trying to throttle anybody that has an alternative narrative to CNN and MSNBC. Mm-hmm. They're trying to throttle it. It doesn't matter. Like, it still gets out. Mm-hmm. But I think that they're much more successful doing it that way than just doing a total, we're going to shut you down Joe Rogan style, because the Joe Rogan thing completely backfired on him.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was very fascinating to watch it because you saw these white folks going, oh my God, he's a racist. And then you had black commentators and we were like, oh, whatever. Like,
really? You guys were all saying it?
Well, not all of us. You always find, you know, but Israel,
what about that other guy?
Israel Adesanya, for example, he did a thing on Joe Rogan and UFC guy, and they talked to Dana White about it, and Dana White was basically dodging it, and Israel was like, no, and then he basically said, nah, Joe's my guy. Joe's my guy. He's my N-word, basically. He's like,
what?
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah. He's like, he's the most humble, nicest dude ever. Yeah, shut the fuck up. Yada yada. Like, so like they're realizing this shit is gonna backfire on you.
Yeah.
You know, like, so the throttling thing, the more subtle ways of doing it, I think is the way that the powers that be should go. But honestly, I really don't think that, you know, the social media age definitely has a lot of terrible ramifications to it, but I also think the good part is that it's damn near impossible now to propagandize people unless they want to be propagandized. Let me say it that way.
Yeah.
Let me just say it that way.
Yeah.
Unless you want to be propagandized into crazy ass wars and doing horrible things to Russian citizens, like completely destroying their economy in 2 weeks, just fucking horrible, destructive things to people that have done us no harm, then I guess, you know, but there's that, you know, left-wing kind of like bitter taste in the mouth of these people because they truly, I think a lot of these folks really believe that Putin is responsible for Donald Trump, which then makes him responsible for Biden. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's unforgivable to them. So now the wrath of 2016 must be felt on the common Russian peasant now. You know, thank you very much.
So sad. When I was over in Latvia, like, those people were they had been through so much. Like, the old ladies were tougher than the young girls here.
Oh, 100%.
Like, they were bent over. They had these short friggin' brooms, like this long, and it was literally branches bound up and tied. And that was what they were sweeping. They were trying to make a...
And this was in the 2000s, right?
Yeah. They were trying to make a camp for teenagers. And so they had this old abandoned building that, honest to goodness, would never have been legal in America to have a camp for kids in. But it was totally different. We had to move all of that. Anything that was broken, we tried to get out of there. But there was literally so much for kids to get injured on. It was unbelievable. But I think that, remember back in the day, like some of the like just... If you just looked at the playground, some of the stuff that they had back when our parents were kids, like, would be completely unacceptable now. Mm-hmm. But you acclimated to that environment. Like, you knew your ass was going to burn when you went down the hot metal slide. I mean, you remember that. Yeah. Like, you got burned sometimes. Yeah. Now, these kids would never, you know what I mean? Like, they complain about the smallest of things. But, like, these kids were, like, so much more tough. And I'm telling you, these women were probably 70s. They were probably in their 70s, and they were out there bent over. And I'm not talking about doing this for 20 minutes. They were out there for hours, at least like 8 hours. They were sweeping bent over. I could not believe it. I was like, these are literally the toughest old women I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And then they stood back up, and they had cooked all the food and brought it there with them. So they woke up early. They got there wicked early, but they woke up even earlier than that to prep the food for everybody to eat while they were doing the work. I was amazed, but yeah, I mean, so shout out to them, but
Yeah, but
you know, it's sad to see that these people are having to go through more stuff.
Yeah, it's horrible.
You know, and then you see people making jokes about it online and stuff. It's just terrible. So anyway, this was a different sort of Peter Steele song. Not so much a fan of it for myself. I liked the feeling that he put in all his other songs, and I didn't catch that same feeling in this one. So
What'd you give it?
So for me, this one's a 6.5.
Whoa! I gave it 100 points
But
extra.
I'm very glad that he was doing better.
I gave it 100. Well, he wasn't doing better. He was gonna die pretty soon after that.
Yeah, but if his soul
But
was
you
doing
mean
better, then
spiritually
yeah,
he's doing better.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this a 7.8. I agree. If I'd have got more of that vocal style, the songs are
Yeah, I thought he was,
feeling-
I went like this because I thought it was gonna go like
take off.
and it didn't. I was like, oh,
But you know, I
me
think
take that
probably
back.
for him the message at that point was probably more important to him than the medium.
yeah. Or maybe he wasn't feeling good too, so maybe it was hard for him to
Also
go
true.
all out.
Also
Anyway,
true. But what's
shout out to
most
Brian.
important is Brian and his rig right here.
Yep.
Mr. Metal.
You're gonna have some fun with that.
Mr. Metal. Yeah, send me some of your stuff, bro. All right, having said that, dear listener, Vin out.
Sorry out.
Go! That was a good one.